fight. Pattison Ave, rocking the night. It's the Phanatics Sports Hour. Join the crowd and feel the power.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Pattison Ave Phanatics Show. I'm your host, Tom Kelly. With me, as always, Alan Andrukavich.
Hello, hello. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
My man and Pattison Ave Fanatic himself, Damon Salim in the building. Damon from West Philly.
What's going on, fellas? Go Birds, go Birds.
And our special guest tonight joining us for the whole show, Tony. Pronounce your last name for me so I'm not butchering it like like an Irish guy.
Give me the first attempt.
Cutillo.
There you're perfect. That's
beautiful.
Perfect.
Tony Cutillo from the Tony Cutillo Show joining us tonight as
What's
well.
Happening, Tony? What's happening?
What's
happening, guys?
It's a good show, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. Mike Fuji is under the weather, and our man Willie Guns. Will had some stuff he had to take care of tonight, so you're stuck with our four ugly mugs for the next hour.
Yeah.
Going back to Super Bowl, fellas.
Yeah, man.
You want to talk about just so like I said, I recently relocated up here to Schuylkill County, and there is a smattering of different fans of different teams. A lot of Eagles fans up here, but there's Norm, my partner here at Cole County Entertainment, is a Commanders fan. Now, if anybody knows the history of the Pottsville Maroons, and we're right next to Pottsville, and that's who the Redskins used to be back in the day. That's why Norm's a fan of that team. I respect that. There's some Cowboys fans up here. There's some Falcons fans up here. A lot of Steelers fans. I think Norm learned over the last few weeks my level of psychosis when it comes to this football team. Alan's known it for years. Dame has known it for years. And like talking with Tony here, it's Tony. We've known each other for many years, and our paths have crossed on you would be on a show one week and then I would be on somebody's show or vice versa. And it's nice to have you aboard tonight to kind of break down what was a real easy, at the end of the day, win for an NFC Championship game.
I can't disagree, man. I can't. No, it's funny because I always knew, that Facebook message would come on and be like, whether it be Monday, Tuesday, whatever you got, what that means, right? So I always knew it was you, right? It's just, it's so crazy. I say this all the time. We all network together, but then we all get so damn busy with so many different things. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, this is great. Listen, I agree with you. I sat there with my son, watched the game when it was, I think even when it was like 27-12, or 20-12, whatever. And I said, I'm not even I'm still not even worried. Like there was nothing that said to me that we were going to have to sweat this out the entire game.
No, dude, that first handoff. Okay, so let's break it down. That first drive by Washington, they went for it 2 or 3 times on fourth down, kept that drive moving, right? That opening drive, and then they had the opportunity to keep it going again in the red zone, and they chose not to do it and kick the field goal. I think that is when the game changed. Obviously, then we received the ball. He handed off to Saquon, and he did the rest. But I think the momentum definitely switched at that moment in time on that drive. It was
almost like the Patrick Robinson interception all over again. You feel you can these games have a feel to them, and you can feel when the tide starts to switch. And just like the past, Patrick, you're down 7-0, you're down 3-0 yesterday. Yep. The first time the guy touches the ball, and you can't, and it breaks another one for over 60. Dame, I got a question for you. Does this team, as far as next man up, does this have the feel of that 2017 team? In 2017 you lost your Mike linebacker, your Darren Sproles, your left tackle, your starting quarterback. The list goes on. Does this seem like how people are just kind of stepping up and filling in? Does it have that feel of the 2017 team?
Oh, definitely, and it also
the thing about it, they're better. They're more talented. And
which is mind blowing to even think about.
Yes.
And they're younger, and so when you look at the team, so let's break down yesterday's game. In all three facets, which we've all been yearning for. Remember, we said the Eagles have to play a complete game. The Eagles have to play a complete game, even during their winning streak, and even they said it to a certain extent. So when you broke it down yesterday, special teams gets a turnover. The defense gets a turnover. The offense executes on a level that, please, enough with Jalen Hurts as a game manager. Enough can Jalen Hurts throw the ball. He's answered. He's checked off every box. The guy's a winner. He has the Jordan, Kobe in him. He's a killer assassin.
I like it.
Don't think he did not hear what that defensive coordinator said last week. So all that together makes that team they're a dangerous team, man. This is a dangerous team, TK. So to answer your question, yeah, but they're better. They're better than the 20. They're better than the team 2 years ago. All across the board.
Tony was fired up this morning. Tony has, not only does he have the Tony Cutillo Show, but he has he does these posts in the morning called Crosstalk, because in the morning time, Tony is a crossing guard as well. If you have guys, Cowboy a crossing guard as well. That's how I know. But Tony was on it this morning about the Wentz hatred, and it can't stop. So, can you kind of just touch back on what you were saying this morning a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to say one thing though, to Alan's point, because I was thinking about this, and I keep hearing about, everybody thought that Dan Quinn kind of gave up, and so I actually think what he was trying to do is work some reverse psychology, and meaning that, he heard his defense all week said, they can't stop this team, they can't stop this team. I think he finally said, you know what, if I keep going for it, the defense may indirectly think that I don't trust them. So you know what? I'm eventually just going to take the points, because if we don't get the points, it's like a failure. I mean, look, it's a catch-22, right? Either way, it didn't work out. But to get to this morning's rant, I listen to a lot of different things. I'm full transparency. I spent all off season, on Sirius, hosted on Sunday nights, and hearing the national media call in about how, I was a homer because I was saying that Jalen Hurts was a top 10 quarterback. I was a homer host because Saquon should be your number one running back in fantasy football, which he was. But so when I hear stiffs, in my opinion, like Daniel, like that dude, he couldn't play in the NFL. He stole more money than anybody, right? He'd be a coach if he was that good. So all he does is fabricate arguments in order to get clicks. All those shows, and everybody wants to love Shady McCoy. Let me tell you something. Shady's not a nice guy. Shady's all about Shady. Because if he was such a nice guy, he would have been invited to way more events within Philadelphia than he is. He's just as bad as everybody else. So my rant basically was, listen. Think about there's 4 of us right here. If all 4 of us each have 10 friends, that's 40 for each, right? That's 40 people right here. If every 40 people would just stop watching these stupid shows, stop quote tweeting, and giving these people the traffic that they want, fellas, women, there's a reason why they come after us, because we elevate everybody. Think about that. So we're just buying into it, man. And I just want one last thing. It's funny because, I just got off the phone. Everybody knows Jay Prowse from Art History 101. Real good, close connection with mine. We were talking about the Big Dom hoodie and things of that nature. And he was saying the same thing. It's crazy. There's so much love within this city that everybody just wants to always tear us down. So why do we allow them to do it? Screw them, man. Just keep them silent and just worry about us. That's all. That was basically my rant.
Yeah, Tony, real quick. I tune them out, man. I personally, I can't, because my eyes don't lie. This guy's special. We're blessed with special players. I know Embiid's been hurt, but Embiid's special. Maxi's special. Jalen Hurts is special, man. He's a winner. He just goes out there and puts his hard hat on and plays football. And if you can't see that, I mean, I don't. You not going to see it.
Where's Josh Allen at?
Jalen yesterday.
No disrespect, but where's Josh Allen?
Right.
He's supposed to be the MVP of the league, right?
Josh Allen didn't.
It kills me.
I don't know.
Well, last week, Josh Allen and real quick, Allen and Mahomes threw 400-something odd yards last week. No one complained, but Jalen does it. He's the manager.
Yes. Well, Jalen went. I got it right here on Google. Okay, so no fake news here, Tom. Not like last.
Was it like what 246 passing with one throwing touchdown and then 3 rushing touchdowns?
20 for 28.
Wow,
for 246 yards and a passing touchdown. That is
how many yards again?
246 throwing. I don't know how many rushing.
20. Yeah. I don't have that.
But 246 throwing. That's a nice day.
10 carries, 16 yards, 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns rushing.
He accounted
touchdown.
He accounted for 28.
20 for 28.
No, he accounted for 28 points. That's just crazy. And then like I knew that tonight's panel was going to be a good one. I had a lot of stuff that I kind of wrote down beforehand. I always show prep to a fault. I don't know about you, Tony. I don't know how when you run your show, but if I'm going to be on for an hour, I show prep for 3. If I'm going to be on for 2, I show prep for 5, 6 because I never want to not have enough. And now, normally, the Pattison Ave Phanatics, we are a 4 for 4 show. We cover everything. Obviously, the Eagles are going to the freaking Super Bowl, so we're not really going to be talking about Paul George's pinky or any of this.
Or why he was caught on Broad Street last night, or any of that, right?
Look, Broad Street, for anybody out there that's watching, if you've never been on Broad Street after a championship win, whether it's the Super Bowl, the NFC Championship game, a Phillies World Series, it is a come to Jesus moment, and you better be right down there. And so for some of the like Nick Foles was down there with his wife.
Yeah,
wow. I guarantee you that dude paid for nothing. Nothing.
He got him a nice steak dinner. You know what I mean?
So
wow.
So that'll and Alan, I'll throw this one to you first.
Okay.
Is this team better built to take on the Chiefs today, as currently constructed, as they were 2 years ago?
They are far superior to the team that they were in 2022. That the addition of Saquon has changed the entire team, the entire offense. The 3 guys on our defense that don't get enough credit: Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, and Zach Bond. Okay, 2 rookies and a dude who couldn't even get on the field in New Orleans with the Saints last year. Couldn't even get on the field. Barely played special teams. Came here, got moved to inside linebacker instead of outside linebacker, and made the damn Pro Bowl. He's like, I got to fact check myself, but he has like 26 tackles in the postseason.
That's correct.
Now this is coming from a Commanders fan. Norm is a Commanders fan, but I swear to you, he is a footballsman. We'll call him, and he's absolutely the exciting white shirt killer squad. You know who I would like to, touching on what Alan said. This is all Vic Fangio. Period.
Yes.
Look. You have a lot of the same play. Look at the leap. A bionic man leap that Nolan Smith made from last year to this year. It's not by accident that these young guys are bought in to. I mean, let's be honest. This almost Jim Johnson type old school mentality holds you accountable. It's nice that you have vets on the defensive side of the ball, like a Brandon Graham, like a Darius Slay, who can hold the young guys accountable. But a D. Not only does your D coordinator have that old school mentality, but it's like these young guys are allowing themselves to be coached.
Yes.
Which sometimes you don't get that.
Jalen Carter is a prime example. He's a prime example of like what you just said, letting himself be coached. This kid is unbelievable. He's unreal. This kid is unreal.
I think we're all old enough to remember the name that I'll invoke right now. Jerome Brown, when he was, I mean, coming onto the team, young stud, lost way too soon, but he reminds me of like he physically, you can't stop. He hurdled a guy who tried to block him yesterday.
Yeah.
If he had did it backwards, it might have been better than Saquon's. I don't know.
So fellas, continuing on the defense, right? So let's look at yesterday's game. There were 4 turnovers, and they scored on all 4. The last time they played the Commanders, when they knocked Jalen out and they were on their way to really knock it to the Commanders, we had 5 turnovers and only scored on 1 of them. There lies a difference in the game.
Yeah, huge difference in the game. Huge.
There lies a difference. There lies a difference, and that's when they took control.
So let me, and I'm going to kick this one to Tony here. Let me throw this out here now. You went on your Jalen Hurts rant this morning, and I was lock in step with you every step of the way. But can Nick Sirianni get a little bit of love at some point? I understand that he ruffles feathers, and as Norm says, he has a hate to face, a very punchable face. Which
he better not cry this time. No crying.
I understand, but I mean, Tony, what are your thoughts on this guy who's only coach ever to take us to multiple Super Bowls? What are your thoughts on Nick Sirianni and kind of what he does for this team?
It's funny because I'm one of the biggest killers of Nick Sirianni over the years. And I'm honest, like I went from the beginning post press conference where I thought he sounded like a fumbling idiot, and I was like, "There's no way this dude could be a head coach," right? And then look, about whole we get to the Super Bowl, so it's like, okay, all right, maybe there's something going. I don't know, right? I honestly think, and I said this before the bye week, when he started yelling, clapping back at the fans and things of that nature, the first thing I said was, if this dude don't change, we'll never win a Super Bowl under his guidance. Like, because he, like, you have to. I've been a coach. This is the first year I'm not coaching kids, which is why I'm a crossing guard. But for years when I coached kids, they had to take on my mentality, right? So, I got that hood style Philly mentality. I want to punch every coach. I want to fight parents. I had to bring that back. I was like, yo, like I got to teach these kids the right way, because now they're going out and say, yo, I got you, coach. I'm like, no, I don't want to train you like that, right? So I honestly think that you're right. He needs to get more flowers. But the way of him not getting more flowers is what really gives us that extra edge. And I got to give a shout out to Mr. Lurie, because I honestly think that after that, at that bye week, he got called into that office, and Lurie was like, look, dude, we didn't bring you back here for this. Remember what we talked about in the offseason? We said you need to change. Okay? Yep. So this, and then instantly everything was different, man. Like everything was different. So I think I don't know if you guys saw it, but the thing that really sums up Nick Sirianni, which I'm learning, is I didn't realize, like I do a lot of research, and I didn't realize that he drops little notes in guys' lockers. He called like Jordan Mailata was going through something personally, and he was dropping some kind of note with quotes every day in his locker at the practice, trying to pump him up. He's the first guy on the phone calling the family members and see everybody. Like, this dude's really bought into that culture. And to see CJ Gardner-Johnson crying his eyes out on the sideline yesterday, like, that just showed to me, like, bro, this sky's the limit for this team, because physically is one thing, mentally is another thing, but emotionally, if you could be emotionally together, bro, there's no in this team like that.
Exactly.
Totally agree.
Now you brought up Jeff Lurie's name. I'm getting a little nervous here, because I seen something today in writing. I think you might know where I'm going with this. That he's emerged as a front runner to purchase the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, how ironic that our owner of the Sixers got the Commanders and he's behind the Eagles. Only in Philadelphia. Only in Philadelphia.
So look,
the Sixers are the only ones out of all the major sports teams not to congratulate the Philadelphia Eagles.
If the Eagles win in 2 weeks, Jeffrey Lurie could buy ISIS for all I give a shit. Okay, you want another Super Bowl? Buy whatever you want. Okay,
I'm just going to say the ice capades.
No.
I wish you would have.
I don't care.
I'm just going to say ice capades.
Yes.
The difference between him and Josh Harris is that man's given the majority of his adult life to this city, this fan base, and this team. So there is, in my mind, there's a staunch difference.
That stuff that I just put out, it doesn't bother me.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother. The dude is a lifelong Boston native. Man.
Right.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
And
yes.
he's on the. You got to think about it this way too, man. He's on the teetering of the end for Lurie, right? So that for me is for his son. Like, to me,
Yeah, I thought about that. That's exactly what I thought about.
He's on the team for what, 30 years, right? Like,
Yeah.
96.
94.
Was it 94? 31 years.
Yeah, that's when this all started. You know, that's when that all started. That like, let's go, man. Like, and we just watched him turn us from what we were, right, to what we are. And we are a winning franchise who wants to win, who wants to do better, who is willing to spend the money and get the people they need. And Saquon was probably, in hindsight, the best off-season requisition, if I'm using the right words, of
Acquisition?
all time. Yeah, acquisition of all time. Of all time. He took less money to come to Philadelphia than he could have to go elsewhere. And here we are. Now,
I got a question. I'm gonna kick this one to Damon to start it off, but we can run around the table with this one. The Chiefs have allowed 296 total rushing yards in their 2 playoff games. What on earth what are they going to have to do to stop Saquon? And are they even capable of stopping Saquon?
I mean, obviously their coordinator, we know him. He's good at what he does. They'll probably box in, but to answer your question specifically, I don't think they can stop him. He's figured out a way, and he's savvy, and he hits the hole like I've never seen before in my life. And it's funny because 2 years ago I said to my brother-in-law, I kid you not, I said, man, I wish we can get Saquon. I said this to him 2 years ago, and then boom, here we are. And I think we got him at the right time. The other thing though, TK, that Tony knows this, that Allen does too. They play off of each other. So because you have to watch Jalen, see, the last time they played them, it was Jalen and Miles Sanders. You're talking Jalen and Saquon. That's all. That's going from a nice. I mean it's the most respectable way, like a nice Lincoln to a Ferrari. Like seriously, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm being kind with the Lincoln for Miles, but I'm saying a nice, classy Lincoln to a Ferrari. Like, this is no other. So what's going to happen is they can play the boxing all they want. And Spags is good. We know Spags is good at what he does. But now the other thing, and we saw it yesterday, and I know you're going to get into it later with the 4th and 5 play. I don't know how you guys was feeling. I'm not going to hold you. I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
But he saw something, and he hits him in stride. Bam. Mm-hmm. First down, AJ Brown. So, and then, oh, by the way, they're pulling on Skinny Batman's arm. He damn near caught it. I mean, they called the flag. I wish he would have caught it. It was in his hands, but I mean, the guy, it was a penalty. But that's how good they are. You know what I'm saying? And then Goddard, it's going to be a problem for them, man. It's going to be a problem for them, for that defense. It's going to be a problem.
My question, and Tony, I'll throw this one at you. How do you scheme against this offense in a dome?
How do you scheme against this offense anywhere, man?
Right, basically. But I mean, in a dome, a couple of years ago, it was the Chiefs that you had to worry about offensively, but they're everywhere you look.
At least the field won't be a problem this time.
Hopefully.
Right? How about that, Alan? How about that?
That's true.
Right.
Well, here's the thing about Spag, man. Like, I was thinking about this, and I watched games probably like 2 or 3 times, and he disguises things so well. And James Cook was tearing him up, man. Like, they couldn't stop James Cook. They couldn't stop the running game for Buffalo. And he finally went to his boys and was like, look, man, if we don't stop this running game, we're going to lose this game. And I don't, we talked about Jalen Carter, but not enough people talk about Chris Jones. And I get that our offensive line is massive, but Chris Jones is a man among the boys, okay?
Yeah.
So
okay.
I'm not ready to elevate Jalen Carter over Chris Jones right now. And, and to me, it's going to be 2 players on defense for Spags. And it's going to be Chris Jones and it's going to be Justin Reed. Justin Reed is one of the most underrated safeties in all of the NFL. And I don't think Spags is going to bring him inside to stop the run. I think he's going to be a free rusher at times. He's going to be able to cover that dude right there. If he can get an inch, more, they're going to feel very, very good. Listen, we're going to say on 18 yards. We're not giving them 50, right? It's going to be a bend or break with Spags. So I'm curious to see, what Kellen's going to do. And hopefully this whole New Orleans Saints thing ain't a distraction. It really, I hate these rules. I can't stand them. It really bothers me. We already see this with Gannon. The year we went to the Super Bowl with Arizona. Now we have to deal with this with Kellen Moore. But at the end of the day, this is going to be a chess match, man. It's going to be a chess match. And I think, though, I'll ask you boys this. How do you feel about this? Because I think one of the things going back to Sirianni, the one thing that just bothered me too much earlier in the year was him getting involved within the offense and not letting it just cook, right? I honestly think he's going to try to get involved a little more because he wants to be a part of that chess match. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm intrigued, man. I really am.
Go ahead, Alan. I'll let you run with that one.
I hope you're wrong, and Nick doesn't.
So do I.
Doesn't meddle. Like, just let it be what it's been. Just continue to do what got you here. There's no reason to try to do any extra. Okay. I'm going to give a shout out to Fuji and his man Will Swartley. Right. He's been talking. He wanted to see him. You got to see him yesterday. That boy was pretty nice. Shipley
delivered.
Sorry, I was last.
Shipley delivered. I got you. Shipley delivered, no doubt.
Yeah.
Shipley showed up. The best part of that was watching Saquon get excited for him.
Cheer for him when he scored that touchdown, dude. He went off. It was awesome. Kenny Gainwell, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed is right.
Fingers
concussion.
crossed.
It was concussion.
Yes, concussion.
Oh, he'll be all right. 2 weeks, he should be all right. I'm gonna go back to something Tony touched upon. Huh?
That was a dirty play. That was
They we didn't even get to Lovell, whatever his name. Real quick to Tony's point about Spags bringing the safety in. So Kellen yesterday showed us something. And I'm hoping. I just want to get y'all thoughts on this with Goddard on the swing route, and he handed off twice, right? One time got 8 yards, the other time 9 yards, so it's productive. Do you think they're gonna? Because that was new to us, and it's like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing now. We're bringing out some new plays. Do you think we'll see some of that and some in the Super Bowl, like another new play or two? Not many, but another additional play that we may have not have seen, which can trick things up. Because they said they threw a dummy play on Washington yesterday too.
Okay. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, this is end all be all. I mean, you don't get a second chance. This is a Super Bowl. You you let everything you have out of the bag, no matter how secret special it is, you let it out.
Well, no, this is what you save the secret special for right here. This game, you have 2 weeks to maybe not. Obviously, you're not going to you're not going to reinvent the wheel, especially what works for you. But this is where you create your packages of things that you don't have on tape. This is where
I like
all the stops are pulled out.
that.
I mean, come on, Philly in 2017, like I think they went back to, I think they got that from like Green Bay from like 2 years prior, something like that. So pull that shit out of your ass. Yep. I mean, Washington with a fake punt got us good yesterday. Maybe you need a little trickery. Seriously,
I was got us good yesterday.
I was pretty salty when that happened. I'll be honest with you.
I mean, if you think about it, so the first play of the game, that pitch back to Saquon, we haven't seen a lot of that.
That's what I wanted to say.
You know what I mean, Alan?
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of the pitch back to the left. I'm like, where did that come from?
Yes.
So, okay, I like that. Yeah. Yep. I like that, TK.
It gives him the momentum. He didn't just keep going. Keep going with that pitch. Jalen
and that offensive line
open. Yes, Jalen actually throwing people open, not throwing to the spot when they were open. That's a game changer. He continues that in 2 weeks.
So I'm going to throw this one. I'm going to throw this one to Tony. You know, when I start doing my show prep, when I start doing my kind of research for shows, I'll see questions like NBC Sports Philly. Usually, Ruben Frank will throw up a lot of questions. Shout out to Ruben. I like a lot of his questions. I'll reword questions or kind of try and change the angle of them, but some questions will come to me and I'll say, you know what, I'm just going to put that out there. And this was one that I saw. So again, I'll start with Tony on this one. Can the Eagles tap into failure to fuel a shot at a Super Bowl 59 victory? As in tap into 2 years ago what they did. Now look, teams change, schemes change, but all the pieces that were there 2 years ago for Kansas City are there now. Do you think the Eagles can kind of go back on that tape, tap into some of the things that didn't work for them, and maybe change the outcome this time around?
You know, it's funny. I would normally say yeah, right? And I think it is pretty cool that Jalen has that picture on his phone as the lock figure, which is pretty cool, just giving him that mental motivation. But I don't even think they can, to be honest with you. I look at it and I forget to put it out, but they were talking about the difference on our end, particularly where we are compared to where we were in that game, and we are 100% better than everybody. Like we are 100% better in at least 5% positions than we were then. And I look at this team that we're facing, and I'm looking at a Travis Kelce who looks like he's 50 years old. You say what you want. He had 2 catches, okay? He wasn't even involved. Wasn't even involved, right? And I'm going to say,
They threw out one of his highlights yesterday to fool us. If you didn't watch the game,
it's like, come on, man! Like it's ridiculous, man. Like, I will say, and I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit, but I said 6 weeks ago, the X factor on the Chiefs is Xavier Worthy, and the only reason why I say that is because from a receiving standpoint, they have nobody that can run. They have nobody that can get it. Even though Hollywood Brown came back, it's still not Hollywood Brown. Juju's ancient. He's done. DeAndre go up and get a ball, and that's it. Travis, he's ancient, right? Yes. But you saw how much Xavier Worthy changed the script for the Buffalo Bills on defense. So he's an X factor. But to get back to your question, TK, I don't think they need to be. I mean, yeah, they could, but I think this is such a different team. It's a different mindset. There's different leaders on this team. There is no more Kelsey. There is no more Leprechauns, right? So you're looking at, honestly, think about it. You're looking at Darius Slay, who's a leader on defense. You're looking at, CJ again, who's here, right, for the second time, but a leader on defense. It's about young leaders, and I think that's the coolest part. Like, we got young guys who are leaders on this team now, and I'm so excited, man. So I don't honestly think, not to get away from yourself, I don't think they need to.
I was hoping that was kind of where you would go with that. Thinking about going back and thinking about 2 years ago, and every hole you had has not only been filled, but it's a strength. It's a strength on your team now. That is such. I'm going to be honest here, and I get called a homer very often, and I get it. Okay, I am not afraid. I was more afraid of the Washington Commanders than I am of the Kansas City Chiefs. And Norm will be my witness. I live up here now. He sees me every day. We work together. He knows how my anxiety levels. I honestly think they could come now. Now the Chiefs have experience. You may not destroy them, but there's a chance they could, unless something tragic happens. I don't think they could stop the Eagles. Not many teams in this league can. And on the flip side of that, this defense is, shall I say, 1991-esque. I mean, it's the first time since 1991 they've had the number one overall defense. So find me a hole. Find me a hole somewhere. Find me something that can be exploited on either side of the ball.
The kicking game.
That
is our Achilles.
But you're in a dome. You're in a dome. There's no wind. There's no nothing.
Dude, Jake,
I asked you to find me a hole. You found me a hole.
Like that is the hole. That is the only hole that we have.
But Jake the Snake is Captain Clutch when he has to be. He'll miss an extra. He'll miss an extra point here.
Elliott now. That's his nickname, Missy. They call him Missy.
Missy Elliott?
Missy Elliott. Yeah.
He went from Jake for the make for Jake for God's sake. What are you doing? Like, I mean, come on, guys.
Jake,
I don't blame the one yesterday on him. I thought Nick should have punted the ball, and I didn't like the play call there. I wouldn't have put him in that position. But when you say that, when you look at this game, and you mentioned what Kansas City has, listen, they're the champs. I never count out the champ. They're going for something historical that's never been done in football. We all understand what's going on. But to your point, TK, I definitely wasn't nervous about the any of the games, really, because I feel like the Eagles, I feel them on the same page, and they all are locked in they're ferocious. And the defense, man, I was worried when they were 2-2. I was like, wow, man, are we going to ever get our defense, the defense that we all grew up on watching? And we have that and some. So yeah, it'll be a good game, but I expect the Eagles to be in full command and full control and handle their business. They're the best team right now. They just are.
I agree. Real quick, I would just want to, my man Paul Spencer, owner of Out of the Box Sports Network. Paul is a lifelong Cowboys fan, but he is one of the realest guys out there. He will tell you like it is. He tells you when they suck, and he tells you when your team's doing good. And I know he says he hates to say it, but go get that chip. I appreciate that, Paul. And look out coming here in the future for us to be doing some collaboration stuff over there with Out of the Box Sports Network guys. There's a great group of guys over there. So thank you, Paul, for the kind words for this team. Like I said, sometimes I sit there and I think, I think about what it was like early 90s, early to mid 90s, late 80s, when you were just in that dreck. You were in that we need Cowboy Dave. Look, I love Cowboy Dave, but I promise you, he would not want to be sitting on this show right now. Okay, it's like you look at all four guys on this panel right now. Every one of them's wearing that crest that he can't stand. But I do love Cowboy Dave as well. But like I was saying, you know, everybody remembers when we were starting to make that turn when Andy Reid came around, and let's be honest. When we weren't in the Super Bowl and Andy went through his first one, I wanted to see Andy get one. Wanted to see him win. I felt like he deserved it. And even though he didn't get our ball club over that perennial hill, he set the tone for what we expected from this team kind of going forward. Well, now Andy's got some rings. I want another one. And
he said, "Now Andy's got some rings."
Yep.
What does he got? 3? No, what does he have with them? 3 already?
Yeah. Because they had back to back, and then what? A couple years before that, they.
So has he?
They're going for 3 in a row.
Did they lose the Super Bowl at all?
I don't
Yes,
know.
once. Right? I think KC lost once. Nope.
Look at that.
To who?
Look at that. They beat the Eagles. They beat the 49ers last year, but they won before then. I forgot who
Kansas City Chiefs never lost in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I forgot who.
Well, yeah, back when Len Dawson was the quarterback, they lost to the Green Bay Packers, and I think it was Super Bowl II. Don't ask me. Like, look, my mother will stand on business. If you knew you're the back, if I knew my schoolwork as well as if I knew the back of football cards, I'd be making a lot more money right now. However, I digress.
Here we go. The Chiefs have a 4-2 record in their 6 Super Bowl appearances. That includes 3-1 record in the big game going back to Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid's first Super Bowl together. So they have 3. They're 3-1. They're 3-1.
They did lose.
Yep.
So, like I said, Andy's got some hardware now. I would like us. We still got a ways to go before we can. The Cowboys fans like to remind us that they have 5.
I can't talk to them right now.
Oh, now. I tried to make this point.
Right now.
Yeah. So what are you doing,
Tony, you might appreciate this. I tried when I get into the argument. Like Norm, for instance, is a Redskins fan. They got 3. Cowboys fans, Paul Spencer out there, they got 5. But what I try to tell people is, I'm like, wait a minute now. Just because you call the championship something different doesn't mean they didn't win in 48, 49, and 60, and in 2017. I said, and if that's the case, then go tell the Montreal Canadiens that. Go tell the New York Yankees that, because they got some rings that might not have necessarily been called World Series or Stanley Cup victories, but anyway. Let's, as Robbie E would say, let's get it back to the Eagles. All right, now I'm going to ask from each one of you guys. And I'll go first, and if you agree with me, that's fine. Or you're not allowed to pick Saquon Barkley, but you have to pick someone that will make that will be your guy, that will be your spotlight guy. And for me, I'm going Devontae Smith. You haven't heard. I haven't heard much from Devontae in the playoffs.
Good stuff.
I'm thinking he's part of that stuff you haven't seen on tape package that we were just talking about. But Tony, we'll start with you. If you had to pick a guy who was not Saquon Barkley to make a difference in this game, who would it be?
Doesn't matter offensively or defensively.
Does not matter who. It could be somebody in the stand streaking across the field for all I give a shit.
That'd be me if I could afford $20,000 to get down there.
I like it. I'm gonna say a very underrated name. Like I get a little different. And, this is just based on what I think that the Kansas City offense, because Kareem Hunt wants like a guy possessed. I'm gonna say Warren Burke. And this guy had 9 tackles. He had 9 tackles, not including the sack, the turnover too, but 9 tackles. Right? This is a dude who was a standout player for the San Francisco 49ers, and they're what? This dude's got the lineage, he's got the intelligence, and it's always in a Super Bowl. Sometimes it's those guys that you least expect. And if they're going to win this game, he needs to play like he did against Washington, because he's going to have to worry about Hunt, Pacheco. He's going to have to worry about Kelsey. Like Bourne can't do it all, right? So because they do a lot of 3-4 wide receiver sets. So I do think that Orion Burks is the guy that could be an underrated game changer in that game.
Famously, freaking Norm checks in the line and says the refs. Come on, man. Dane, do you have a TV on in the background or something? I'm getting a little reverb from you.
It's the birds.
I don't know. It could be. I don't know. I'm in the room by myself, but yeah.
Well, yes, just to see who it was, I was muting everybody's mic. When you talk, Dame, I don't hear it. I just hear you. So I'll as soon as you start talking, I'll mute you because we're getting a little feedback. But so Dame, who would now? I took Devontae. Are you going to go with him, or are you going to pick somebody else?
No, I'm gonna go with somebody else. I'm going to go. That was a good one for Tony with Burke, because Burke's been playing well since Nakobe went down. I'm going to go Dotson. The reason I'm going Dotson is because in the Super Bowl, there's always a guy that we don't normally like. He had a touchdown, I think, in the Green Bay game, the first playoff game. So he didn't do anything yesterday. So going back to that one of those plays that we haven't seen, and it'll be one of those things where he'll, break open and get you a nice touchdown or get you a nice chunk of yards. So I'm going to go Dotson on a nice play or two to help us just sustain the drive and get us a touchdown, if not score the touchdown.
Okay. Alan, how about you? What are your thoughts for a again,
a standout performance?
Picking Saquon's too easy, so I need somebody other than him.
Well, you know what I need? I need an MVP performance from my quarterback. Jalen Hurts needs to play lights out. Okay, if he's throwing the ball, he's got to go. He's got to go 20 for 28 with no turnovers. You know what I mean? He needs to play top-notch football, make the right decisions, which I think he can, especially with our running game. If we get Gainwell back, you got a three-headed monster, really, if you wanted to. You got Barkley, Gainwell, Shipley. Just run them all. Run them all. Screw it. I don't care. Put them all in there and control the game. Control the game. Take the game out of Kansas City's hands. That's what we need to do. I think Jalen is the biggest factor in that. If Jalen can have a game like he did this past weekend, I think we'll be fine.
Okay, I mean there's some good picks there. I like Jahan Dotson. Norm rolled his eyes because Norm being a Washington Commanders fan, it's tough.
I'm gonna put $5 on a Dotson touchdown.
Can you just look? I know we've all seen the video clips, and I know we've all seen this. Can you imagine what New York Giants fans are going through right now? I watched a Skip Bayless video where he was just basically trashing Saquon before the season started, and he's not going to be a difference maker, which literally everything Skip Bayless said, the opposite happened, which, again, he's a clickbait guy, and I get that. But I can't imagine sitting there being a Giant. Dude, the GM's got to be on suicide watch. That guy, it's like look, I'm giddy over Saquon as I think we all are.
Yes.
But watching the New York Giants suffer is just about as fun as this run that the Eagles have been on. So sorry to all my friends who are Giants fans out there, and I do have a few. Let me real quick. We're kind of winding down here in the last 10 minutes of the show. So let's take Saquon Barkley from this year. and put him on that team 2 years ago, with the way he's playing this year, is there a different result? Do you think? I mean, Tony, like if what are your thoughts on the impact that this kid had? Like, I know I said we couldn't pick him before,
right?
But one player, and at the running back spot, which they asked, I think John Clark asked him last night, you know, what does this say about running backs? And he's like, we do matter. Did you think that Saquon would make this kind of impact? Let me kind of change my question around. Did you think from the beginning of the season that this impact would happen?
Yes. Yeah. And I do, and I got the receipts to prove, which is great. So, like, I'm gonna give a shout out to one of the producers at Sirius, Noah, who texted me instantly after the game because he produced all my shows, and we were doing fantasy football drafts, and I did multiple mock drafts on air with all the Sirius hosts, and every single time I took Saquon, I took him at number 1 overall. I took him at number 2 overall, and everybody laughed at me. Everybody called me a homer, right? And the reason why I expected it is because you hear Saquon talk, and you hear him say, it's just not me, because it's not. That offensive line, like Mekhi Becton is a tackle playing guard. Like, people don't understand. Him and Landon Dickerson, okay, those dudes are massive. They don't make guards like that no more, right?
No, they don't.
Right, so it's crazy. So when you think about it, you're taking this elite talent and putting it behind an elite offensive line, and then you have a guy, okay, in Jalen that runs that RPO better than almost anybody, right, who gives you that other element. I was like, guys, him and Derrick Henry, I kept touting them all offseason. I'm like, they're going to situations where they have a tremendous offensive line and they have a quarterback who has the ability to break it off whenever he wants. So I was like, dude, this is like gold to both of these teams. And who were the top 2 backs? It was Saquon and Derrick Henry. So
absolutely.
And what you said, TK, real fast about the running back market, about what he said, that's exactly what I was saying too. I said, they finally, because I'm a big guy. I hated that running backs got destroyed. I hate that because I know a lot of kids, young kids, that are out there trying to ball, and it's like all of a sudden they're like, yeah, I got 4 years and I'm done. Like, nobody's even going to give me another contract, right? And I was like, that's so wrong, man.
Right.
Because look at the teams that are in the dance. It's because they can run the ball and win within the trenches. So it is an important position. So yeah, to cut this short, yes, I 100% envisioned it, but I did not envision 2,000 yards. Like, I didn't envision that. I just envisioned that he was going to be this goddamn good.
Wow. Now, Damon, I'm gonna kick it to you. Keep it on Saquon here. We've all lived through. I mean, you lived through Wilbur Montgomery. You lived through Ricky Waters for what? But I mean, that is what it is. Charlie Gardner. You've lived through Shady McCoy and Brian Westbrook and all of these elite. I'll say running backs, at least in Eagles history, we'll call them elite for the Eagles. Have you ever, in your wildest dreams, seen someone with this? I mean, he's a 5-tool player. Have you? Is there anybody? Is there even a comp in Eagles history that you could compare this kid to?
Nah, not in Eagles history. And those guys that you mentioned were fantastic. They were great. They did great things for us. Not to take anything away from them, but Saquon's different, man. He's special, and he gets in there. He blocks. How many times did he block for Jalen yesterday?
He's not a bad blocker either.
Yeah, man. And then on top of that, he hits those holes. Tony touched upon it, and I'm gonna go back. So yesterday, in watching the game, when Dickerson was in there for playing center at the time, and I looked at that line. I said, "Look, all that beef. They're not just big, but they move. They can move." And it's like, it's ironically, that's what the old Washington used to be, the Hogs back in the day with Riggs, with John Riggins, and those guys, right? So, but now in today's Eagles with this O-line, he's never had that. I just recall him beating us at times when he's with the Giants. I'm like, damn, this dude is good, right? And so now that he's on our side and he's behind that line, he's smart. He gets to the hole, and then going back to, because remember it was Lamar and Henry, the 1-2, and then once he and Jalen caught their rhythm, man, that's a problem for teams. And you know what's funny about that is because, which is great, this is great. I like that people are talking about him as they should, but they forget to mention Jalen in the same sentence because on the quiet, it's hand to hand. Tone touched upon it recently with the RPOs. Jalen's RPOs are much cleaner now than what they were with Miles Sanders and those dudes. Yep. It just is. And so when you look at it, it's just a problem. It's a nightmare. Like Spags is going to be up. Spags is going to be up for the next 2 weeks because it starts there, man. And did I think he was going to be good for us? Yeah, but I didn't think this good. I can't sit up here and tell you that. I didn't think he was going to be this good. He's better than what I anticipated.
I think we can all kind of agree on that. Now, Alan, I'm gonna throw this one to you. And Damon, I'm muting your mic, but you know you can move your mouse or whatever and unmute it if you want to jump in. It's just that feedback. Sorry, I'm not putting you on timeout. I swear. But Alan,
yes.
Is this possibly the best offensive line this team has ever had? I mean, is this O-line better than last year? Is it better than their Super Bowl run 2 years ago? To even think that their Super Bowl run in 22 and now and look at this line. I mean, your subs are bigger than most of the guys you had. Yes. It's so to you, is this the best offensive line the Eagles have ever had?
Yes. And it is a testament to Jeff Stoutland.
That guy's a legend.
He has done phenomenal things with the core group of guys that he has had. Okay. Jurgens, Dickerson. We got to watch those guys for the next 2 weeks because those guys are we need them back. We need them healthy. We need them, set and ready.
They should be ready, Alan. They should be ready. So they should be fine.
The combined performance that they put in yesterday was unbelievable. Dickerson stepping in to a position he hasn't played in 4 years, right? Or that could be wrong in the years, but okay. Stepping in and doing his thing. He got hurt. Jurgensen, okay, boom, came in. He did his thing. Dude, if we can have our entire offensive line healthy, I don't see us having an issue with the Kansas City defense.
Yeah, and like Tony was saying, Chris Jones, he is a man-child out there for sure, but he's one guy, and when you can scheme one guy usually. Yes. On the flip side, when it comes to the Eagles defense, it's more than one guy, and it's by committee almost. But you do have one guy in Jalen Carter and I swear to God, next season, he's gonna catch a snap. He's gonna catch somebody trying to clock it. He's gonna catch one.
Yeah. He punched a dude in Washington in the face yesterday.
I saw that.
Man,
Usually that's a Trent Williams thing, but I'll take it. So real quick, before we get out of here, Tony, can you let our listeners know how they can find you, track you down, and follow you and listen?
Listen, I would suggest just go, because I do a lot of different things only because I love doing this shit, so I'm involved in so many different things. I would just say just follow me at Tony Cutillo Show. That's kind of like where all my work, I've kind of, I do a lot of sports betting work. I fill in on Sirius. So like I'm kind of like all over the place. So, but what I decided to do is, I said this earlier, TK, and this is to anybody listening. I like to say these little wisdom things every now and then, but for years in this business, I always built somebody else's shit up, and Amen. I got tired of being that guy and get no notoriety because of it. And that's not being a selfish thing, but it was just like, look, I'm not really benefiting. So I finally decided to walk away from everything and just start my own thing myself, just by myself. and I did it 2 months ago, and the rewards have been great, man. Like, so,
I love it.
like that. And again, that's just a shot that anybody who wants to do, like, it is so gratifying that I got 387 subscribers on YouTube. But guess what? Like, I had a post go viral for over 10,000 views on Baker Mayfield, like little old me, like only because it was a good point. Like, and it's just inspiration. People, you can do things. You don't have to be behind somebody else's wall. Just throwing it out there. So just at Tony Cutillo Show, and you'll find all the stuff that I'm doing. And thanks for having me on, fellas.
Thank you. Thank you so much for man. Yeah, absolutely. Pleasure, well, listen, Damon, it was great to get you back in the saddle and get you on here. I love you, man. It's awesome to chop it up with you again. And obviously, Alan, my host, dude, I love you. I appreciate you being here. Tony, thank you so much for coming on. It's nice to actually talk to you outside of the Facebook Messenger for a change.
Yeah,
and
I'm card shirt on either too. So
this is true, and I'm hoping we can get you on more, man. It was a great show for sure. But so listen, for Tony Cutillo at Tony Cutillo Show, for my man Damon Salim, Alan Anchikavich, Mike Fuji, who's under the weather, and Willie Guns, who had some stuff going on and I couldn't be on here. I'm Tom Kelly. This is a Pattison Ave Phanatics Show. We'll see you guys next week to do a little Super Bowl preview. We're out of here.
Go Birds.
Turn on the sports show tonight. TK's got the energy right. Willie Guns take us to the fight. Pattison Ave rocking the night. It's the final.